I did an attachment therapy training. That was about 10 years ago. And then I became a craniosacral therapist. And now I really bring in all those different modalities and work with families in that way, and also work with individual adults. The new field of epigenetics is showing us that we're influenced by our history. We're influenced by our ancestry. And so there may be even things, there may be unconscious themes or unconscious patterns that follow you, throughout your family life. And now they're able to actually prove that, how our early experiences in life really shape us.
As adults.
The first 2 years, we really are forming the foundation of what everything else that is to come. What the research shows, there's a new research study that just came out of the University of Minnesota, and it was a huge study of 32 years where they took two groups of families, one where the child was receiving from their parent sensitive, responsive caregiving. So the parent was there, the parent was responding to the child's needs with a sensitivity, with an acknowledgement of their feelings. And so they tracked those children, and then they had another group of children who didn't have that kind of caregiving. It was more the old parenting paradigm of authoritarian parenting, like, you do what I say or else, the kind of threatening, where a child's not going to necessarily feel safe. And they tracked both of those children for 32 years. So they tracked them into adulthood. And what they noticed was that the children who had sensitive, responsive caregiving from early on, from birth, especially in those first 3 years when you're forming that foundation, those children did better socially. So they came into relationship much easier with other children. They did better in romantic relationships, and they did better academically because they were settled enough in themselves that they could actually focus on their schoolwork. The other children didn't do so well. So now we have these huge studies that are saying, yes, we know why this early attachment is so, so important, because it forms the base that everything grows on top of. The thing that we have in our favor is that there is all the science right now to prove it. It's like what mothers have known for centuries, the importance of, a strong bond and strong attachment. But now we have science that can come in and say, yeah, we can now prove that, which is a great thing. I do support adults to do their own work, and especially I think it's really beneficial for partners to do some of their own work, to unravel, unpack some of their own history before they actually conceive a child, so that they're not bringing then their history and having that influence the child. A lot of the roots of anxiety, a lot of the roots of depression are from our early history. And they've been able to trace that back now with research to say a lot of those roots come from our early attachment. If we have adverse experiences, in our early childhood, it affects our ability it becomes internalized. So if I get treated poorly, then I start to feel poorly about myself, and then it's really hard for me to relate to somebody else. And so that's how those early imprints work. When I'm working with an adult, I'm really supporting them to come into themselves. I use a real somatic approach. So it's not just, we're not just talking here, but I'm going to also be checking into how you're doing on the inside, so that they can feel themselves again and connect in with who they are, and that will naturally help them to be able to relate outwards to their partner or to their child or to their coworker, because it's all about relationship.